Alright, so I've got my plan. Now I'm going to have a go at turning that into a really simple basic paragraph. So we're going here really looking at using the plan to create the structure of the paragraph, and then we'll start to flesh that out a little bit more. But we've got to make sure we've got the main ideas in there. So I'm literally going to take these things here and I'm going to just turn them into full sentences, maybe add a word or two, and then that'll give me a basic paragraph. So I've got human condition plus power, and I've already done my sentence there. The human condition limits power. So we can just start with that. Remembering that I can come back, this is a draft, I can come back and improve this, add some more information to it. But I really want to make sure that I've got something to start with. So then I've got my technique, dramatic irony and emotive language. So now I'm looking here, I've got emotive language, and I've also mentioned the emotive language there, so I don't need to mention it here. And I'm going to say that Shakespeare's use of dramatic irony in how about if I make it even simpler? Shakespeare uses dramatic irony in this castle hath a pleasant seat. Alright. Then so my next bit there is the analysis. The emotive pleasant shows that Duncan is deceived when we know Lady Macbeth intends on killing him. So I'm going to now say, so Shakespeare, I'm up to my evaluation now. Shakespeare demonstrates that even the most powerful members of society can be deceived. So now moving on to my next technique. And I might want to use a little connecting word here, so I'm going to, again, so also the symbolism of blood in my blood for Gaul. So you'll notice here that I'm rewording this a little bit now, just because of the way I want to avoid sort of repeating myself too much. But you can see I've still got the same basic structure. I've got the symbolism, then I've got the quote. Okay, I've just moved a little bit of the analysis up there. Okay, take my blood for Gaul represents life, which is replaced by the goal poison so I'm just going to read that back. Also, the symbolism of blood in take my blood for Gaul represents life, which is replaced by Gaul, symbolic of poison. shows how Lady Macbeth
is able to transform herself.
So I'm just going to go purposefully. Evil deeds. And I might even in pursuit of power. Okay. So you can see I've got that second bit of structure there. I could make another sentence to link that into a broader idea in the same way that I've done with Shakespeare demonstrates that even the most powerful members of society can be deceived, but that's implied in this one. Okay, just like with Duncan being representative of the most powerful, this is representative of people who are not in the same amount of power. And then we're going to develop that in our link anyway. So then my last bit is my link, and consequently, we learn that power drives deception. Alright, done.
In that last sentence, would you refer to, so consequently we learn that power drives deception in Macbeth?
No, because really what we're doing, our thesis is not actually necessarily about Macbeth.
Right.
We're using the play Macbeth as evidence for this conceptual idea.
So if the question referred directly to a text, would you then use that?
It would depend on the module. Okay, generally most of the modules now, okay, tend to encourage you to move beyond. So basically we're using the composer or the text as evidence for our own ideas, which are more general, rather than just saying this is what Shakespeare said. Because what we're doing there is we're actually evaluating it. We're saying this is why it's relevant to us.
Okay.
Okay, not just to, a bunch of dead white guys 500 years ago.
Would you link that to the other question? Where does that kind of...
Okay, so if we want to go through now, and this is the idea about using this keyword structure. So if I go through now and I just underline the keywords in here. So I've got, which is going to be pretty easy because I've made it simple over here. Okay, so I've got the human condition. Now, so that's really my link to the question. Okay, so straight off the bat, I've made it clear this is answering the question. All right, and what I'm doing then is I'm not going to come back to the question, because coming back to the question is actually causing like a circular argument. In the same way that if you asked me, what's your favourite colour? And I replied to you and said, my favourite colour is the colour that I like the most. That's not answering the question. An appropriate answer to that question would be something more along the lines of blue or red or orange. So we've basically, if you think about this whole paragraph, and this is another way to think about it, if you think about this whole paragraph almost being like a complete answer to a question, in the same way that when we say write your answers in full sentences, you normally start off the sentence with rewording the question. You can imagine the paragraph as being like a giant version of a full sentence answer to the question. It starts with the question, but by the end of it, we're at our thesis. Does that?
Okay.
All right. So, and if we look at the way the key words now work in here, you'll see that what we're doing here is we're actually guiding our responder. So rather than sort of beating them over the head with repeating the same ideas, we're helping them to come to our conclusion. So we've got the human condition, emotive. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to see if I can find any other things in here that could be linked to the human condition.
Powerful members of society can be
Yep.
deceived.
Alright, so I'm going to just stop it there, just because I know
because
that
that's
that's
the
okay.
question keyword.
Also, symbolism of blood, Tangle of Call, which blah, 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 shows Lady Macbeth purposely transforms herself in order to commit evil deeds.
Would you count transforms herself as human condition?
Mm.
Okay. And even that, in order to commit evil deeds.
Yeah. And pursue.
Yeah.
Uh,
Alright, we can leave it for the moment.
yeah.
We're a bit unsure.
Because
Doesn't really
pursuit's
matter.
more of an action.
Doesn't have to be perfect. But then our concept is power. Shows that Duncan is deceived when we know Lady Macbeth intends on killing him. Would you say that killing has something to do with power?
Well, killing's taking away the power. So,
And also intends. If someone intends on doing something, that has something to do with power.
and that would
That's
link
about.
then to driving deception at the
Yeah.
end of this paragraph.
So then Shakespeare demonstrates that even the most powerful can be deceived. Obviously there, we've got power. Also, the symbolism of blood in Take My Blood for Gold represents life. Now, I should have worked that out before. Life, okay, that's
Of
something
course.
about the human condition, okay. Which is replaced by the gold, symbolic of poison, shows how Lady Macbeth purposefully transforms herself. Now, purposefully is all about power, okay. Transforms herself in order to commit evil deeds in pursuit of power. We learn that power drives deception. Alright, so if we now take our thesis keyword, Shakespeare uses dramatic irony in the Castle House Pleasant Sea, it's motivating blah 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 blah, deceived. When we know Lady Macbeth intends on killing him, Shakespeare demonstrates can be deceived. Also, the symbolism in blood, replaced by gall. Okay, because if you're replacing something, it's deceptive. Transforms. Okay, and then deception. Okay. So by looking at that, you can kind of see visually with the colours that we've gone from the very first thing here being obviously our question keyword, and we've ended up down here at our thesis keyword. So it's a kind of way, it's of guiding our reader to our conclusion, rather than guiding the reader back to the question.
So using that sentence that you said, you know, my favourite colour is the colour I like most. Instead, what you've done is explain why blue is your favourite colour.
Yeah, well,
But you haven't at the end said blue is my favourite colour again. You've just led people to the reason.
Let's have a look at this. What does tragedy teach us about the human condition? It teaches us about the human condition that power drives deception.
Yep.